Góðan daginn. Ég vörustjóri notendabúnaðar hérna hjá opna kerfum og fyrir hönd opinna kerfa vil ég þakka ykkur fyrir að mæta í þennan rándýra morgunverð og kynningu á tölvubúnaði. Ég sagði nú einhvern hérna sem ég var að reyna gabban til þess að koma hérna í morgun og ég sagði það er svo sem enginn drepist að því að borða egg og bacon. Svo fattaði ég það náttúrulega í morgun að við drápum svín, þannig að jú, það var einhver sem drafst í það. En að öllu gamni sleptu þá fengum við hérna rándýramenn til þess að ég var blindur hérna. Fengum við hérna rándýramenn til þess að halda smá kynningu fyrir ykkur á því nýjasta sem er að gerast í tölvubúnaði hjá HP. Og bæði í workstation vélum og svo þessum hefðbundnu fartölvum og bortölvum og okkur langar að kynna það fyrir ykkur. Við fengum hérna menn og hann byrjar fyrstur, Henrik, sem er vörustjóri HP tölvubúnaðar, fartölvubúnaðar hjá HP í Danmarku og svo er hann Anders sem er sérfræðingur og veit allt workstation vélar og ætlar að kynna ykkur. Enn og aftur vil ég þakka ykkur fyrir að sjá okkur hvert að mæta og gaman að sjá hvað komið margir og ég vil bara þakka fyrir mig og gefa boltan á Henrik. Gjörðu svo vel.
So I didn't understand that much of what Bini was saying, but I recognized my own name. I recognized the word fartölvur. And I sort of thought, that's my cue. I'm next. Name, Henrik Johansson. I am responsible for the commercial mobile products in HP, which means tablets and notebooks and products sort of in between. I'm going to use the next 45, 60, 75, 90 minutes. I usually go over the time I'm allocated, which my colleagues usually find a bit annoying, but that's how it is. Let's see how we progress. We introduced a lot of new products in January, and I'm going to give you an overview on these new products. We've got some of them in the room. We've got some things happening on and off. So if this one goes out, there are two other big screens in the end of the room, and they are on all the time, so I hope it works. But before going into products, I will give you a bit of background on why we do the products we do, why we design them the way we do, what features we put into them, and where we put our development focus. I am not going to talk too much about specs and components. We're going to have a bit of info on workstations, and I am pretty sure that will be much more spec-focused and component-focused. That sort of goes with the products. So I'll just try to give you an overview on what we put into the mobiles, and then, well, dig into what are the new products. And before I came to Iceland, say, last week, I was not having the exact same presentation as I am today. But we introduced a new product type in Barcelona on the Mobile World Conference, which I'm going to show you a video of. It's not a product we have right now. It will be in the June timeframe, and it looks pretty exciting. Maybe some of you have already read about it. I've got a video which sort of tells a bit of story what we intend to do with this product. So that's going to be my final words, or the video is going to be the final words. Okay, and feel free to ask questions along the way. I'll try to answer, and the other ones, the ones that I can't answer, I'll try to find help somewhere else and then get back to you. Okay? So, notebooks. And I will begin to go back some years 4, 5 years where there was a lot of talk about consumerization and bring your own device, and the way that we brought computers into the office was going to change drastically. And we realized that at that time because originally we've been very focused on what does the IT department need. They would need long life cycle. They talk about service, they talk about support, they talk about a lot of things which basically is not the things that the user think of when they think of a notebook product or a mobile product. And with this talk about people could bring their own device from the home and all the associated issues that could be there, we thought we have to look into what does the user need as well. So we kept the focus on doing what we have been doing for many years, but we knew that we had to look into design. How do we make the product thinner? How do we make the product lighter? Because these things were beginning to appear. Today, I don't hear that much about bring your own device. I would say I hear a bit more about choose your own device, where you have a portfolio of devices which you can choose from. And since we individually look at design as something, either you like it or you don't, then you could have various products doing the same, but with different designs in the company, and you would still be able to please the users. So a lot more focus on the design in our products. That development also taught us recently that to move away from just looking at the device on its own, we have to look at the device in its environment, and the environment has changed. Actually, a lot of things in the environment has changed, because if we look at the way the workforce is today compared to 5, 10 years ago, it's changed. There are different attitudes towards technology. The places we work and the way we work have changed as well. And the way we work, the way we interact have changed too. So these 3 pillars are the foundation of where we put our efforts in designing the product. And if I should put a headline on where we focus the most, then for the workforce, design. And that really comes from the consumerization phase. For the workplace, we focus on security, and I'm going to go a bit more into detail on why security is important when we talk about the workplace. And then the work styles, I'm going to dig a bit into collaboration, because the way we work together in the companies is much more on collaboration. But again, I'll get back to that. So, for the workforce, there's a group of people which is referred to as millennials, or a generation. Are you familiar with the term millennials? Yeah, some not. Millennials are people born in the early 1980s and onwards. And right now, if we look at Western Europe, 36% of the workforce are millennials. And why do I speak about the millennials? I speak about millennials because millennials have grown up with technology. They have a very distinct attitude towards technology. They know what they like, and they know what they don't like. So the times where you could give an employee a piece of technology, and just because it was technology, it was, oh, fine, super. Now it is regarded with much more critical eyes. And that means we have to look into make these devices more cool, more desirable. And then we go back into the design thing. So we focus on creating thinner and lighter products. Obviously, we try to make them faster, even though they get thinner and lighter. We try to make them more flexible. If I look at the portfolio I am managing, I have a huge variety of products, but that's to be able to serve various needs. and there are many different needs to be served. So this is the main focus. We focus on the materials we use. If we look at the products we are building today, designing, we use much more metal. Aluminium is our preferred material. We use magnesium for strength and lightness as well. And we look into other materials that make the products look nice, feel nice, so we have a good feel on the product. The challenge in creating thinner and lighter products is that they potentially could get much more that's the word, sorry? Fragile, yes, exactly. So you have to find the right balance. So we put the products through extensive testing. I don't know whether you saw some of the video we just had running before the presentation, but that's some of the things we run through with the products. That's the HP total test process. 120,000 hours of various tests to make sure that the product can actually sustain a work environment. And that's like 25,000 times this. It's like 10 million times pushing the keys on the keyboard and so on to make sure that the design we made can actually do it. We also put the equipment through some tests created by the American military, referred to as a mill test. And that's probably more to be able to market it and to compare it to what other manufacturers are doing. So we put products through some military testing, get it certified by a third party that it actually does. And then we have various numbers of tests, again, to show that it can actually take some beating, although it's just an office computer. Now, on the workplace, we work various places. So it's not like in the old days where you had your fixed seat in the office and that was basically it. Nowadays, we have a mobile of some sort and we bring our work home, we bring it to visit with customers, we bring it to visit with suppliers, we bring it everywhere, we bring it on vacation. And that leaves the door sort of more open for attacking the computer. If we look at some statistics from 2013 to 14, the number of security attacks went up by 21%. And the security attacks have not decreased since then. And the reason why that is that data has a value for the companies. And people out there have realized that if it has a value for the companies, then there's money to be made. So there's a whole industry creating malware, trying to break in through firewalls to steal data away from people, or to take computers as hostages and demand a ransom to open it again. So security is something that needs to be taken seriously. Not too long ago, we had a seminar on printing, showing that it's not just computers. You have to look at security on a corporate-wide scale. Since these are now being moved away from the company and the known environment, we know the firewall, we have sort of good control. But what happens if it's logged on through a hotspot, an unsecure hotspot, then we sort of lose control. So we have to be aware of this. These threats, as you probably know, could be physical theft, it could be passwords being hacked, it could be malware. So there are various examples on how this could be done. From a hardware manufacturer perspective, we obviously try to help make security much more user-friendly, because if it's user-friendly, then it's used. A very good example, I think, is the fingerprint reader on the products, which is a very secure and very easy, very user-friendly way of entering the product. Instead of having to use a number of different passwords, which then needs to be revised every 3 months or whatever the policy is. So we try to protect the hardware as much as we can. One relatively new thing is that hackers have discovered that if they can enter the hardware before the operating system kicks in, then they can remove a lot of barriers, because the hardware uses software as well. So the firmware, the BIOS, is a piece of software manufactured by the hardware manufacturer. If they get control of the machine there, then regardless of what virus checker, what firewalls, they have control. HP has made a system which we call SureStart, which is a protection of the firmware, which makes it impossible for the hackers to go there. And the way it works is we have a copy, an authorized copy of the BIOS hidden in the machine. It checks the firmware. If the firmware is different and it's not authorized, it's not blueprinted, blue stamped, then it overwrites the firmware. And it does that check dynamically over the day. So even if it's not something that's done on malicious purposes, even if you're doing an update of the firmware, something goes wrong during this update, under normal circumstances, the motherboard would just be dead because there's no firmware. How could you ever start this one? But with this system, it checks something is wrong, something doesn't match. It copies the firmware back into the BIOS, and then you can start the machine again. User don't have to do anything. It happens automatically. Apart from that, we have some other security features I just would like to mention. We can erase the drives fully and completely. So on all our SSD drives we get from suppliers like Samsung, Micron, and Intel, they certify that they are not able to recover the data once we've run through this HP Secure Erase. It's something that's done through the BIOS. There's a feature there where you can actually remove or wipe the hard drive completely. And then you don't have to worry that the data on the hard drive, if you donate the computer to someone, suddenly appears where it shouldn't appear. We can self-encrypt the drives without the interaction of the processor, so it's done in the drive. We've got the fingerprint reader I just mentioned, and usually the fingerprint reader works the way that it stores an image of the fingerprint on the hard drive. Oh, that's not good. If someone gets access to the hard drive for some reason, then they've got this image, and then they got access to everything. We hide the fingerprint within the sensor hardware on the fingerprint reader, and that's much more difficult for a hacker to get by. And for lost or forgotten passwords, then we have you could call it a backdoor. So it's like the spare key. You get some questions which you only know, and then if you answer these questions correctly, then you can access the system. So that's something you can implement as well. The final piece, the work style, the way we work together. I'm pretty sure that you would agree that the number of meetings we run to have not been fewer over the years. So we interact with a lot of different people in the company, outside the company. Sometimes physically we are in the same room still, but we are increasingly using the computer to be in meetings. So Skype, link type, telecom meetings, which then requires a new thing of the computer, because the computer has become a communication device. That makes the sound and the video quality of high importance, and that's the third thing, the third area that we're focusing on. So we've made a cooperation with Bang & Olufsen on their audio technology. So we're working with Bang & Olufsen on the hardware, we're working on the software to make sure that the sound going out of the speakers in the notebook, that gets increasingly thinner, is of superior quality. We have some software to make the sound crystal clear so that you can actually use the computer and have a good meeting feeling even though you're not physically in the same room. And then finally, because sometimes you're not alone in the room when you have these teleconferences. Sometimes it's just impossible to find a room where there's no colleagues stopping by, where there's no dogs barking, there's no children running. Shutting down an airport if you need to be in a meeting there is probably very difficult. So with some noise reduction software, you can actually, for the people in the other part of the meeting, they will not know that you are sitting in a very noisy environment. And I'll try to illustrate this by showing you a small video.
It's time to take a call from your PC, and you're in a less than perfect environment. Sound familiar? Mysterious keyboard clicks.
I understand I might be giving you business here pretty soon.
Right.
Nearby
Congratulations.
conversation.
Thanks.
How's that going?
An espresso machine. A passing motorcycle. Hey, I'm trying to do a call here. Whether you're working from the office, home, or on the road, an HP EliteBook with built-in noise reduction software can help you out.
We actually created this whole team to do a live demonstration so we can see how effective HP noise reduction software can be. On this screen is a live call with Bill down there on stage using Skype for Business. Hey Bill, it sounds a little loud out there.
Yeah, it's pretty noisy, but let's see what happens when I turn the noise reduction software on. How does that sound?
That's pretty good. We're not getting the ambient noise at all up here.
Okay, here it is again. This is off. Can you hear everything happening here on the stage? And on. Software designed to suppress the ambient noise, including keyboard clicks.
Sounds great. I like it. This has been a live demonstration of HP's industry-leading noise filtering technology.
Anyone riding motorcycles in here? Sorry for they calling that a motorcycle. I would probably. Okay, so those were the three focus areas that we are developing solutions for on our commercial mobiles. In January, as I mentioned, we introduced a lot of new products. And if we look at the products, it's from our ProBook 600 and onwards. Standard notebooks and a category which I usually prefer to call hybrids. You've got two kinds of hybrids. You've got the one that's always have the keyboard attached to it, and then you twist the product somehow, and then you turn it into a tablet, and then backwards, and then it's a notebook. And the other category, which is also a hybrid, where you just detach the keyboard from the product, and then you can leave the keyboard, or you can put it in the bag, but you decide. I am pretty sure that if I refer to it as the Surface type product, then everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, I think I'm going to ignore that one. All the new products, they have the new Intel Skylake processors, chipset. Just as a comment, I'm not going to talk a lot about what Skylake does and will. It's just new Intel stuff in all the new products. In general, the philosophy is evolution. So we are not going to make huge revolution on an existing product. We try to maintain what we think is working well, and what we think we can improve even more, we try to twist and turn so it works even better. It's not saying that we're not revolutionizing things, we're not creating stuff, we're not innovating, because as you will see in the end, we are doing things that well, could potentially be revolutionizing stuff. But I'll take you through some highlights on the new platforms, beginning with the ProBook 600 series, which is one of our big selling products. It's a 14 and 15-inch platform, so it really covers a lot of various needs. I usually refer to it as our most flexible platform because we can build it in so many ways. We've got AMD, we've got Intel, and the funny thing about AMD is it is actually getting more traction. Years ago, AMD had sort of a bad name because they were not as far as Intel when it came to mobile processors. They got a bit too hot within a notebook is very bad news. Then you get instability and so on. Those days are gone. So we've got AMD for the 600 series, we've got AMD for the 800 series, and we can actually see that more customers, after testing these products, they go, oh, I didn't expect that. I'm getting the same thing as I would get on an Intel platform, and since the product is visibly, physically exactly the same, why shouldn't I do it? Especially when there's money to be saved, because AMD is cheaper than the comparable Intel model. So for the Danish market, as a few examples, we've got Grundfos. They're running on AMD right now. We've got Danfoss looking into it. We've got the Danish railroads. We've got Carlsberg and AP Møller looking into it. We've got ISS on AMD. And we recently won a big government contract on 2,500 elite books with AMD. So it's beginning to roll. And the old idea on AMD as being an inferior product which the users would just hate has gone. And funny little story, I heard from one of our customers running AMD. They had feedback from one of the users saying, oh, I'm so happy you removed that Intel logo because it looked ugly on the wrist support. We're not forced to put any AMD logos on there, so it looks nice and clean. Okay, so we can do touchscreen, we can do non-touch. Most are still non-touch, but we can actually do touchscreen. Various resolutions. We can do keyboard with track point, we can do keyboard without track point, and so on. There's a lot of things, a lot of different components. Sorry, I said components. But we can actually put this product together in many ways. Couple of new things compared to the old platform, because physically it is difficult to notice the difference. But one thing is that we are beginning to see these USB-C connectors. And USB-C is this very tiny connector that has a lot of potential. Behind this USB-C, you will, today at least, still find a lot of USB 3.0 technology. But as we move along, you will see more Thunderbolt 2 and 3 technology, which then increases the bandwidth and then makes it possible to use it for docking. You can put monitors on it. You can charge through this connector. And the connector, just to give you an idea, in case you don't know how small, large it is, this is the size. And then again, it allows us to make the products even slimmer. And slimmer, well, we found that that has an appealing effect. Another thing we added to the new 600 series is that it uses the same docking station as we are using across the board on our Elite books. So now we have one docking station for all our ProBook 600 and onwards. That has been key for us to make sure that we have as few docking stations as possible. And that's where we have arrived now. This docking station, the Ultra Slim docking station, dates back from 2012. And it's on the roadmap for the next generation of products until 2018. In 2018, we believe that there will be enough new technologies which we cannot contain in this ultra-slim dock. Then we are going to refresh it. So we are going to have a new mechanical dock in 2018, 2019. So that's the roadmap for this one. The EliteBook, again, no huge revolutions on this one. It's become a bit slimmer. It's become a bit lighter. But apart from that, it very much looks the same. So this is an EliteBook. And the main difference today between the EliteBook and the ProBook 600, I would say the 600 is a traditional notebook. You can still get the optical drive. Not many people want it. And this one is the Ultrabook type. So it's very slim, no optical drive. The biggest physical difference between the old generation of EliteBook and this one is actually the way we coat the back panel. So this is the old one, so it was black. I said something about fingerprint, black fingerprint. We found this is less receptive of fingerprints. And silver, when we do these focus group interviews, we found silver is much more appealing to the users than black, which tends to be maybe a bit boring. So now it's Asteroid Silver, which is the official name of this color. Still aluminium, still magnesium used to put this together. For 15-inch, there's a good and a big news, and that is that we now have the numeric keypad on that one. That has been a request we've had for quite some time. Otherwise, higher resolution on the displays. We've got the USB-C, and even though it's become slimmer, we still maintain the VGA port and the RJ45. And at least from my perspective, since I usually go to a lot of presentations, go to meeting rooms, projectors, some have HDMI, some have display port, but they all have the VGA. So I always have an escape plan by having the VGA directly in the computer. USB-C as well, and then Bang & Olufsen on all our Elite products. It actually goes for our desktop all-in-one products as well. So Bang & Olufsen is something we're going to integrate in all our products. Even consumer products will have the Bang & Olufsen sound technology built into them. And still the ultra-slim dock. The 1000 series is like the EliteBooks, but just a notch more thin, a notch nicer in the crafting of the materials, but still with the same docking. So it's been key for us to create a real premium product, but still dockable. So it goes into the corporate, into the business, and you can share this docking station across the board. Even for the 1040, it looks very much the same. We have been digging deep into the detail to put something else in. And I would say the main difference between the previous one and this one is that we now have a click pad. The previous one had what we called a force pad, which turned out to be probably a bit too difficult to use in a good way. So we replaced it with a click pad of a very high quality, and then, well, there we go. This is the new 1040. The 1040 has a smaller brother. So a 12-inch thing, super slim, super light, and in a couple of months' time, we are actually going to replace the 12-inch panel behind this and replace it with a 13.3-inch panel. Same size of the box, but 13.3, and still dockable. So this is our premium products right now. And then again, we have another one. There's this new folio. So if you think these two guys were super slim, they can actually be even slimmer. So this is the new Folio G1. It's 12.4 millimeters thick. and it weighs less than a kilo. It's 12, as said, but if you look at the form factor, it looks more like an 11.6. So very compact, but very powerful as well. So as you can see, there are two USB-C connectors here. And one of these connectors is a Thunderbolt connector. This means that with our new Thunderbolt docking station, we can connect two 4K monitors to this one. We can put networking traffic through it. We can put all the things that you need through a docking station because this Thunderbolt 3 supports up to 40 gigabyte of data transfer. So very powerful, very light, very small. And with the optional touch panel if you need. Very high resolution on the display. So this is Ultra HD with about as many pixels to work with as the Retina display. And the reason why I mention the Retina display is that the Retina display usually signals, wow, this is super quality. Yep, this is twice super quality. And the final thing is the IR camera. And IR in this context is not infrared. It's a new technology developed by Intel RealSense, and it aims at making password or logging on much more secure. So you just put your face in front of the camera, it 3D scans your face, and then if you're okay, then it opens Windows. Windows Hello, so it's a Windows 10 feature. We got it on this one because this is, as you may imagine, a showcase on what we can do technology-wise. We expect this type of camera to be in more products at a later stage when costs have come down because it's very expensive. And I would say it's for some things it's still in its first phases. We believe that for Windows Hello and for authentication, the fingerprint reader is a much more secure, much more tested and tried solution, and it's built, all the drivers are built right into Windows 10, so it works right out of the box. Moving into the hybrids, the Spectra X360. Unfortunately, I don't have a sample here. Built entirely in aluminum. It's a product we share with our consumer division. So a lot of consumer features in it. Bang & Olufsen, new thing, and we put it through the mil-spec testing just to make sure that this is actually as much a commercial product as the rest of the Elite and ProBook families. When we look at the market for hybrids, this technology is not as widespread, sold, use a lot of words, as this one. So the detachable market is much bigger than the convertible market. So we are going to focus quite a bit on this detachable market and these products. And looking at this slide, if I removed one logo and a bit of naming, this might as well have been a Microsoft presentation. It's not. Microsoft have done a super fantastic job in creating the Surface and building this product category on the Surface product. No doubt about that. And as it's probably not a new thing for you, it works as a tablet, 12-inch, perfect size. It's not too big, it's not too small. We all remember the netbooks that everybody thought would be the next revolution. They died because of size and partly because of performance. But size was definitely one of the problems because 10-inch becomes a bit tricky to work on. 12-inch, fine. Becoming bigger, yep, more detail, but heavier, and then the mobility side of it sort of dies. Looking at how these products are used, most of the products are sold with a keyboard. And that indicates the way we work today are still very much focused on entering data and not so much consuming data, because a tablet in its own is more about consuming, but when you attach the keyboard, you can actually produce data and produce content. So the keyboard is important. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to see Microsoft statistics, but when I speak to Microsoft people, they tell me that they basically don't sell a Surface without a keyboard. And I completely agree. The keyboard is very important. So, even though this looks like a Surface, it's not a Surface. It's much better. Surprise. And I'm going to illustrate why I think this is a better product. Because we look at the thing the Surface does, and we say, okay, we have a lot of experience in creating products for the commercial use. And we know a lot of questions, needs that the Surface doesn't address today. And we try to address that in this product. And the first and the foremost is the keyboard. Because, as said, the keyboard is key for the success of this product. So this is it. This is the 1012. And this is the keyboard. So this keyboard is made exactly the same as we do for our notebook keyboards. So it's on a base of aluminium. It's very stiff. You can use it even when you're having the product on your lap. So you don't get this wobbly feeling when you're working on it. The keys, they have, you can press the keys, and there's a good travel, yes. Fantastic. Yes, there's a good travel, so you feel like you're working on a notebook keyboard. You've got a click pad, which has a very high quality feeling, so you've got very precise click pad as well. And you've got light in the keys. So it's like you have a keyboard on a notebook. That's the purpose of doing this. And it's in Icelandic, so we can supply Icelandic keyboard as well, which a lot of the detachable products in the market today are, well, with a bit of luck, you may have a Nordic keyboard or a US keyboard and so on. But this is actually made in the usual localizations that we have on our notebooks. So yes, Icelandic as well. It attaches very easily by magnet to the computer, and then you've got a notebook. We've got two variations. The travel keyboard, which is this one, and then the advanced travel keyboard. And advanced in this context is NFC, if you need that, or the opportunity to have a smart card reader in the keyboard. But this one is the one that we're going to see the most, I believe. So keyboard is one thing. There's a lot of other things which make this a true commercial product. So we put it through the same military standards test to show that this is an elite product. We put Gorilla Glass in front of it because we know, this being a very mobile product, it will go down on the floor. And if the screen breaks, that's a problem. Nobody wants this type of product with a broken screen, because then basically it's a new one. Or maybe not. We carved the base out of one piece of aluminium, so it has a real nice, solid quality feel. We do the same thing on the security side, so we've got this Sure Start bias recovery, self-healing feature. We've got the fingerprint reader. We've got TPM chips, so BitLocker is no problem on this one. And we've got all the security solutions we supply for our Elite books as well. So you can actually regard this as a true commercial product. The keyboards through with the localization, as Binny mentioned. There's an active pen, and the pen technology is from Wacom. Wacom is the world-leading supplier of digitizers, so a pretty good pen solution for the 1012. Sound from Bang & Olufsen. And on the service side, we believe that if it is a commercial product, then we should be able to service it like we service any notebook. So in the case that something goes wrong, could be the screen, but it could be the hard drive, it could be the motherboard, we can service the product. So we can open the product. It's not glued together, which then means repair equals new, maybe used products when you send it off for repair. That's not the case with this one. So it usually comes with 3-year on-site on the standard models. But basically, we can build it like we build the EliteBook products with the kind of warranty that you would need. It could even be a travel service, so that you have serviceability in all the countries where HP is present. And since it's serviceable, Opin could actually do the service in Iceland, not having to send it off to Holland or Poland or wherever things are being repaired. On the connectivity side, we've got all the wireless solutions as possibilities. So 4G, 3G, standard AC wireless, Bluetooth. We've got the old, well-known USB-A connection. We've got USB-C. And behind the USB-C, we've got Thunderbolt. So like the Folio, we can use the same Thunderbolt docking and have the same options as a full docking solution. One cable, you get the power, you get the data transport up to 40 gigabit. We've got another wireless docking solution, which is called the WiGig solution, where you have a wireless connection to the dock. So various opportunities for docking. There's a kickstand, and a kickstand is this fella, and it's variable, so you can have it in the right angle depending on if it's on the lab, on the table, on wherever. Very easy to set up. And for the power of it, it's obviously last generation, so Skylake. It's Core M. So comparing to the Surface, which is Core I, there's no doubt Core I has more muscle, more power than the Core M. However, Core I equals fans. This one doesn't have a fan, so it is completely quiet. And it has longer battery life due to the Core M technology. Performance-wise, the Core M 6th generation equals, in terms of power, Core I of the previous, Core i5 of the previous generation. So, in terms of power, yes, there's enough. In terms of noise, in terms of battery life, much better. And on the battery, just to close that one off, we use long life batteries in this one. So there's 3 years warranty on the battery as well as the full product. 3-year warranty is a thing that HP has been focusing on for quite some time. So all our EliteBooks have 3-year warranty on the battery, and most of our ProBook 600s have 3-year warranty on the battery too. So we can actually do something because of the battery technology that we're using. We've obviously got the keyboards. We've got a protective case which you can put around the product in case you, just like you do on the mobile phone, if you want to protect it even more, so it becomes a bit more rubberized. And even though you do that, there's still a connection for the keyboard to be put on the product. With the this protective case, you can even put a shoulder strap, or you can put a hand strap, so it's, if you need to work with it like this, you can do it, and it's more tightly secured to the hand. A various number of dongles if you want to connect to video, to wired LAN, and then the docking stations of various types. Standard USB-C docking station, the Thunderbolt docking station, which is that one. Looks like a very big chocolate bar, but very discreet and very, very powerful. The Cube is the wireless docking solution if you want to use that one. And then monitors, keyboards, and so on. So you can actually build a standard work environment like you would do on a standard desktop. So when this category was sort of invented, it was with the purpose of taking out the notebook and the tablet from the case you were carrying, and to have just one item. And this could be the one item that acts exactly like an Elite book, but is a tablet on the same time. Any questions? I'm here for the day, so you can feel free to ask. I think I am going to show a small video. So I promised you about this product we introduced last Monday, on Monday, the X3, which is, well, you could say we are taking this product and then we are squeezing it much more together. So it becomes much, much more compact. Actually, compact in the size of this. It's not this one, it's not this one. Because the product is being shown right now, so we've got some prototypes being shown. It will ship in June. And pricing, I haven't seen any pricing, so I know this is the question that always appears. I'm probably not going to say anything correct about pricing, so let's leave it at that and go into the video. And the video will give you an idea of what this product is intending to do.
Okay, I hope everybody got a chance to get a fresh cup of coffee. I'm going to do an update on workstations. My name is Anders, and I am a specialist on workstations and thin clients. And I'm going to focus mainly on what we are introducing on mobility side of things. So workstations in HP, it's based upon these three pillars. It's performance, innovation, and reliability. And this is not just marketing. This is actually the way we think of workstations all the way through. So performance, innovation, reliability is what I'm going to focus on today. And we will touch on all three subjects during this presentation. We bring a lot of great innovation to the market in workstation. A lot of them is actually customer driven, so it's real life issues out there in the world of workstation usage that I brought innovation to, so this can be dealt with in a satisfying manner for the customers. This could be the turbo drive, the first to market PCI Express connected storage that we came with back in 2014. The Dream Color display, the remote graphics software that I'm going to touch on later. So as of today, back in 1.5 years ago, we refreshed the desktop workstation lineup. This lineup is approximately midlife right now. It's a very stable series, so we can expect usually 2 or 3 processor upgrades during the lifetime of these products. So the 400, 600 and 800 series that packs a lot of power, and we have them all shown down here at the product fair that I would invite you to have a look at later. Back in September, we had a few interesting launches. So the entry-level desktop workstation, the C240, had its introduction, and this is the go-to entry CAD machine, very stable and very versatile in terms of configuration. It's presented here today, so we can also have a look at that. Also, a thin client is not always just a thin client. An introduction of the T730, which is a really interesting product for your remoting of your workstation. This thin client can run 6 4K displays simultaneously, so thin client is not just the very small box underneath the counter on your gas station or office space or wherever it's showing one picture. It can be a very very demanding jobs. Also presented here today is the ZVR virtual reality display. It's a 3D display, but do not think of it as the 3D TV you got at home or the 3D experience you get in the movie theater. This is immersive 3D. It means you actually decide what's going on in 3D on this display. It's presented here today, and I urge you to try it out. It's really impressive. It's immersive. It's what the future of workstation and computing is all about. Speaking of immersive, we also introduced the Sprout Pro, which is optimized for professional applications as Adobe Illustrator and Autodesk Sketchbook, and has a lot of other interesting professional features built in. It's a 3D camera, scanner, projector, touch mat, all in one PC, just in one product. Very, very interesting, very limitless in terms of creativity that can be done with this. And also, lastly, in 2015, late 2015, we introduced a lot of new performance monitors. So the entire workstation monitor lineup got refreshed, and there's a lot of new technologies and first technologies in here. We have an exciting lineup of 4 and 5K displays. 4 and 5K are definitely the future of CAD displays. Also video editing and other high demanding tasks are going to be ran off 4 and 5K displays in the near future. Curved displays, new designs, new technologies in the standard displays such as daisy chaining, and the virtual reality that we have down here. So what's happening in mobile is very much driven on what Henrik touched on from the millennials, that people want sleek and high-performing products, and mobile workstations haven't always been able to fulfill that wish until recently. Performance is needed everywhere, on construction side, on film side, on shared desk space in the office space, traveling around the world and so on. You would want your performance to travel with you. You you don't want to have only your high-performing computer at your desk side and not being able to travel with that. So reinvention is required here. It's not the needs that we have fulfilled until now. So what we got as a very exciting news is the ZBook Studio. Might not be the 12 millimeters of the previous machines, 18 millimeters, 2 kilos. But what's in here is the impressive part, because this is a full-featured, absolutely no compromise mobile workstation. And when I say no compromise, I mean 45-watt CPUs, NVIDIA Quadro graphics, lots of memory, everything you would want from a mobile workstation, now packed into just 18 millimeters and 2 kilos. This means it's actually lighter than the standard office machine I had 3 years ago. So you can travel with full power now. Very, very exciting product. We have them here live and able to demonstrate them. Please take a look. So the Studio is really a wolf in sheep's clothing, but it's not the only introduction, because the whole ZBook lineup got refreshed as well. So we have, starting with our entry mobile workstation, the Ultrabook-based workstation, the 15U. It's below 2 kilos, so even lighter. And we have our traditional powerhouses, the ZBook 15 and 17. I have the 15 traditional here. This one packs even heavier configuration in terms of graphics, memory, and so on. And of course the 17. This is a much preferred CAD machine from people working mainly mobile. You would want that extra screen real estate. These are people who actually would want to carry that extra weight, but now a little less. So there's a lot of first and best in this generation of mobile workstations. We have first generation of mobile Xeon CPUs. This means we can support ECC memory. That's a thing that really has been missed from only having to deal with Core i5 and i7 CPUs in mobile workstations. We have Dreamcolor 4K displays. I'm going to touch on Dreamcolor later on. And we have Thunderbolt 3, which is an I/O iteration of Thunderbolt that can be used for more than just a little disk I/O and a display port and so on. I'm going to touch on that later. And of course the C Turbo Drive Generation 2, based upon NVMe NAND flash, that creates very impressive disk I/O speeds. Also a lot of more traditional. The RGS is still in development now in 7.1. The ability to remote your workstation. RGS is something that I would like to demonstrate after here as well, so please join. The sure start of the mobile products, next generation of NVIDIA graphics. So NVIDIA changed from the Kepler generation to the Maxwell generation, and there are some pretty impressive figures to look at here. 2 times the performance over the Kepler. And the Quad Pro drive I'm going to touch on later. So if you are not satisfied with the standard generation 2 of PCI Express connected storage, I have exciting news for you. And in mobility, very impressive configurations. Xeon CPUs, up to 64 gigabyte of memory in a mobile workstation. Very impressive. It's what we had in the previous generation of the 400 series workstation, so it's really powerful. Up to 2 C Turbo drives in each configuration, and still some 2.5 inch in the biggest of configurations. And all this done in a very slim package. So what we used to have was a 40 millimeters 40mm workstation, 4cm workstation in the 17-inch space. This got 25% thinner. The 15-inch got 27% thinner. The Studio, which is a new category, is like I told, the 18mm, 2 kilos. So it's really, really becoming thinner and lighter and more acceptable to carry around for the users. Docking-wise, it's the docking station that Henrik touched upon. The Thunderbolt dock that with the 40 gigabit gives us the ability to drive 2 4K displays. It's really necessary in workstation space. 2 4K displays will consume around 30 gigabit, so 32 gigabit. That leaves us plenty of I/O to handle whatever comes along with the gigabit internet and so on. Not only did the workstations make a thinner and lighter transition, what a lot of workstation users would be happy to hear is that I'm holding a 150 watt power supply here. It's not much larger than we used to have 90 watt power supplies. This means 50% lighter and 37% smaller power supply. It's really something you would want to travel with now and not just leave at the office and run out of battery very fast after that. Also, I touched on the Kepler generation and the success of the Maxwell generation. If we have a look at it, the Maxwell is symbolized with the blue line on top and the Kepler with the purple line. And if we have a look at the M1000M card, which is in the Thin and Light Studio, where we, by the way, have an excellent exclusive with NVIDIA. That means we have a special edition that packs 4 gigabyte of frame buffer in this Thin and Light configuration. So the M1000M card goes somewhere in between the 3100 card, which was a 17-inch product only, and the 4100 card. This is very impressive generation over generation performance increase here. So we can go all the way up to the M5000 cards in the 17-inch, and this is all benchmarking done in SpecViewPerf. So this is meant for professional applications running on OpenGL graphics. Also on monitors, 4K Dreamcolor monitors. The Dreamcolor monitor is the color critical monitor that we supply for these tasks where you need to be certain on what color profile you're working in. So this monitor covers 100% of the sRGB and Adobe RGB color space. It's a 10-bit panel. This means that we are producing more than 1 billion colors here compared to the 16 million in a standard 8-bit panel. And this panel is now available in 3 desktop sizes and in all over our mobile workstation lineup. This technology brought us an Oscar last year. So this technology is now widely adopted all over the film industry. Okay, a little issue on the monitor here. We still have in the sides of the room. So we're really proud of this technology that we brought to life together with DreamWorks for their animation studios back in the day when the CRT monitors became obsolete, and these monitors actually brought much better color accuracy than the flat screens. So the flat screen had a catch-up game to do, and now we are seeing this in second generation and also all across our mobile workstation offering. We also have the Bang & Olufsen implementation that you saw Henrik promote. And we have the 7.1 version of our remote graphics software. This is a sender and receiver based one-to-one or one-to-many, meaning collaboration many users that we ship with all our workstations. So it's sender-wise installed on a workstation, free of charge. You already paid for it with your workstation and receiver is unlicensed. You can put it on any Windows device or any Linux device out there. And you can have the power of your workstation even on a touch tablet, the 1012 for instance. I could remote a 36-core workstation just by using fingers and have a very powerful machine remoting. Built into remote graphics software is Velocity. Velocity is something that came out of our thin client division because thin clients are very sensitive to poor network traffic, poor network quality, where you have latency, high packet loss, or just in other way dirty networks that could really interfere with quality of what we are experiencing. This is not something that is acceptable either in heavy 3D operations like CAD usage or even film editing. We have avid users in Denmark remoting their workstations with remote graphics software, creating TV on that. So the Velocity is something that really dramatically improves this and makes it usable, for instance, on 3 or 4G networks, which are very sensitive to this kind of operation because of the high latency you experience of those kind of networks. Also on every single workstation we have our performance advisor. This is a very strong tool to tune your computer to that exact ISV application that you want to run. It is a very strong tool for identifying bottlenecks. So how do you configure your workstation right? Where do you want to spend your money? Is it on storage, on CPU, on memory, on graphics? This tool has a very powerful way of showing what elements your users are pounding most on and where you should invest and have a really good experience, and also maybe where you should save a little and spend somewhere else. I have an performance advisor installed here at several machines, and I would invite you to join a hands-on workshop with that later on. All the client security in the notebook lineup is of course presented in the mobile lineup as well, and the desktop lineup, of course. In terms of reliability, which I'm going to touch upon next, all these mobile products are mil-spec tested for 15 different 810 tests. All the mobile workstation testing is done by a third party as well, so it's not the engineer who designs the product who okays it as a mil-spec tested product. It's third party tested. We don't want any doubts about the tests, and I'm going to touch a lot on those in a minute. So a brand new lineup of 15 and 17-inch mobile workstations, all with a lot of exciting new technologies. Very impressive specs, and I'm trying to hold back on talking specs today, so I would love to, but please approach later. One thing that I do like to mention is with the C Turbo drive, we immediately doubled the speed of SATA connected SSDs in the first generation. We doubled that again in the second generation. We are now on the other side of 2 gigabit per second, but that's never enough because innovation is in the DNA of HP workstations. So this new card is recently introduced, the C Turbo Drive Quad Pro. This card accommodates 4 DIMMs of NVMe NAND flash storage. It has built-in cooling, RAID capabilities, battery backup. It's all you would want in a RAID system in just one PCI Express card. And speed is at 9 gigabit per second. Disk I/O of 9 gigabit per second. 2 years ago, we were very happy with our SATA SSDs that provided 600 megabyte per second. So, RAID issues solved. If you want disk I/O throughput, this is the drive to go to. Perfectly cooled, perfectly protected, and with all the reliability tests that we let our product undergo. This is, of course, part of it. So not only impressive speeds on disk I/O, keeping system cool is something that is really necessary, and recently introduced the next generation of workstation heat sinks, the C Cooler. Makes our 400 and 800 desktop systems 25% quieter. This is important because if you fire up 36 cores of Xeon CPUs for rendering or simulation or ray tracing, you would start to hear a whistle at some point. And this is something that we have dramatically increased, and I have some numbers I want to show you. This is really the essence of where these guys looks at how to gain speeds, reliability, and performance, and a very, very exciting new step here in something as basic as cooling. So a lot of new innovations, and where are all these innovations done? It's in HP 30-year plus tradition to make workstations on these based upon these values, and we have our workstation R&D lab network, mainly based in Colorado, and I've been lucky enough to be given a tour around the lab, and I would like to take you behind the scenes as well. So we have our R&D lab and our science and engineering offices there, and the material science lab that does all kind of testing upon these components, and this enables us to always have that performance edge in the workstation space. So they do the root cause analysis. If something is not performing, if something is breaking, we do not just accept, well, we take the experience and create better products of tomorrow. They do a lot of auditing of components, so we do not just take components from various manufacturers. We actually slice them and dice them and everything that you can expect of for making a very reliable and performing product. That also leads to proactive material. We continue to make the products more reliable, and that enables us to increase speed, because if you look at workstation design, performance is just overclocking the GPUs and the CPUs and the memory and what have we. But performance creates heat creates acoustics, and heat creates issues in reliability. Heat is generally a thing that we need to manage, because as the heat increases, the performance and reliability decreases. And one thing we should realize is, especially on performance, if we do not cool properly on the products, it actually clocks down. To protect itself, GPUs, CPUs, memory, etc., it clocks down when it gets too hot. So thermals are so extremely important here. That's why the C Cooler came out. And this presents some very interesting numbers, that we are in the 24 to 32 decibel space on the C840 with the C Coolers. It's less noise than a modern projector or whatever creates. So this will be a very quiet whistling underneath your desk with the 36 cores running at full speed. We see others covering much more impressive bandwidth in the decibel space. We of course strive to do cooling in a very quiet way and very efficient way. So on cooling, One thing that we have, for instance, on the C840 is it's a dual socket system, so we have 2 CPUs that needs to be cooled in here. And on this system, we have this patented air duct that is a creation only for this product. What it does is providing clean air for both processors, meaning no preheated air. So there's air for one CPU dragged in here, for a second CPU dragged in here. The air from CPU 1 or 0 is then exhausted out without contaminating the air for the next CPU. So instead of just preheating the air of CPU 0 to pass it on to CPU 1, we ensure that we do efficient cooling at the same temperature of air, because if CPU 1 gets the preheated air of CPU 0, it clocks down. When it clocks down, CPU 0 clocks down as well. So that's very important. Also, we have on this board individual memory bank cooling. It's important to do cooling where cooling is needed, because if you just crank up the fans at full speed, you would have a very, very noisy system, and that gets a problem to sit with all day, and you are not popular in the office space having a hairdryer underneath your desk. Another thing is heat sinks, something as simple as heat sinks. If we look at it, we have copper pipes going into aluminum profiles. If you see air gaps in there, you're not having efficient cooling. So that's something that went into the C-Cooler innovation and creation, really eliminating those last bits, creating more efficient cooling, higher performing workstations. So in the material and science lab is where the products are getting ready for the mil-spec testing, and in the reliability testing we do all this humidity testing, temperature testing, dust testing, and so on and so on. And all these are what gives us the ability to do the 15 different mil-spec testing in the end. We also do testings that actually don't apply to the mil-spec testing itself, but apply to the product reliability during its lifetime and more than that. For instance, we do the shock testing that can simulate a 3-meter drop, for instance, on a truck ramp and to the concrete. If a box is dropped, you would never see that, because it might be happening after leaving factory and before reaching customer site. And we want to ensure that even our packaging is providing the best possible protection. We do vibration testing to simulate transportation, because what happens when a product has been on a ship and on a truck and on a railroad and in the end reaches the customer, if the components is not up to the standard, what would happen is that the connectors, they would get worn out, or maybe be worn out during the lifetime if they are next to heavy machinery that creates vibrations. And when you have worn out connectors, they start to corrode, and when they start to corrode, you have bad connection, creates less stable performance. Worst possible, it would create a failed system board or failed components. So these testings are very important. Also in the root cause analysis lab, we do X-ray of components. So if a component fails, we are able to analyze why and see where the product is not up to the standard. This gives us a very unique opportunity to be proactive and analyze if a component is workstation class, and also give feedback to suppliers saying this is the performance that we're looking for, but the quality of the soldering or the quality of the board, the development of heat inside the box is not performing or not behaving as experienced or as expected, and thereby giving feedback and creating more reliable products. So performance, innovation, and reliability is not just a marketing term, it's really what's behind the design of the workstations. So with this as compact as possible presentation of what's new in Workstation, I would just like to leave you with the message of all this impressive innovation brought to you by the Workstation Lab in Fort Collins. So thank you very much for coming here today, and please join on the product demos and the hands-on session afterwards. Thank you.